Before the world stirs, there is a hush, gentle and profound, stretching softly across the low hills and olive groves of ancient Judea. The sun has finished its golden descent, and now the sky holds on to the last blush of dusk as quietness settles over the land. Families complete their evening tasks, washing hands in cool bowls of water and gathering the last of the loaves from rounded baskets lined with cloth. The gentle sound of clay pitchers being set down carries softly through open doorways, and lamps are trimmed with careful, practiced hands. Shadows deepen along stone walls and sun-baked courtyards, while the faintest breeze stirs the fronds of date palms nearby. In these tranquil moments, everything slows. There is no rush, for night asks for nothing but stillness and trust in the divine rhythm of creation. Within one simple home, a mother sits beside her sleeping child. She hums a fragment of a song her mother once sang, her words barely rising above the gentle flicker of an oil lamp nearby. The room smells of sweet olive oil and warm linen. Through the lattice window, the first stars begin to appear, softly, one by one, stitched into the deepening blue of the sky. Outside, the distant sound of sheep, settling for the night, drifts on the air, their gentle bleats blending with the chirp of crickets. On this restful evening, the stories passed down from father to son, from grandmother to grandchild, seem to linger in the quiet. Tonight, the story is from the Gospel of Matthew, a story not shouted or hurried, but spoken as gently as the wind. This is the threshold, where peace begins and every soul listens as the world slips into the comfort of night, preparing for ancient words that will soon drift through calm hearts, like a quiet prayer. Let the night's journey open like a slow breath, drawing in the coolness of darkness and releasing the cares of the day. In the gentle calm, the world has grown softer, shaped by the kind embrace of silence. Shadows pool in restful corners, and the glow of small lamps sends golden circles dancing along earthen walls. Families are gathered close, some in simple rooms washed in lamplight, others beneath open skies beneath grapevine arbors, quietly savoring the close of day together. The pace of movement is unhurried, hands resting, feet settled on woven mats, hearts steady and unburdened. Even the smallest movements, a mother smoothing a child's hair or the soft turning of a clay cup, seem to echo with softness and intention. In every part of the village, the hush is thick and comforting, like a warm blanket pulled over tired shoulders. The scent of baked bread and ripening figs lingers, mingling with the faint perfume of crushed herbs carried on the evening breeze. Tonight, the ancient words begin their journey, spoken gently by fathers, mothers, elders, each voice a thread in the fabric of tradition. The words of the Gospel of Matthew enter the quiet, simple and clear, settling in the ears and hearts of those gathered close. Outside, the fields lie still beneath a star-strewn sky, and within the humble homes, every ear is open, every soul at peace. The stories rise and fall softly, telling of a teacher who spoke of lilies and sparrows, of kindness and forgiveness, of light shining in darkness. For a while, the worries of the coming days and the work of hands are set aside, and everyone, young and old, rests in the presence of these gentle truths. In this sacred pause between sunset and dawn, the night holds them safely, and every word becomes a shelter, cradling their dreams until the sun returns. The world rests under a soft sky, where the blue of evening has deepened into a gentle darkness touched by the new glow of stars. Light from the moon falls quietly over the land, silvering the leaves of olive trees and casting soft patterns across stone pathways. In every corner there is a sense of release, the whole village wrapped in the quiet promise of nighttime. Shepherds returning from the hills move quietly past shadowed gardens, their footsteps muffled by the gentle dust of the earth. Within each simple home, the final tasks of the evening give way to silence as woven doors are drawn closed and whispers drift between family members like blessings. Somewhere, a grandmother folds a soft blanket over a sleeping child, her touch a quiet assurance that all is well. The air itself feels tender, a coolness that caresses both skin and spirit, inviting everyone to rest without fear or hurry. In this calm, even the animals are at ease. Sheep and goats curl together in their pens, their steady breath rising like a soft song into the night air. The donkey, tired from the day's journey, stands close beside the wall, eyes closing as dreams approach. Outside the village, the world stretches into wide fields and quiet hills, every part of the land held beneath the same serene sky. Inside, the oil lamps burn low, casting flickers across the familiar shapes of baskets and tools, loaves of bread, and softly stacked linens. The storytellers' voices are now hushed, but their words linger. Verses from Matthew, lessons of gentleness and hope, stories that comfort the mind and settle the heart. Sleep gathers close, a treasured friend, and as eyelids grow heavy, thoughts drift like feathers on the breeze, wrapped in the peace that settles over all who rest beneath this ancient, watchful sky. The setting is a gentle village, nestled softly among rolling hills and the sheltering arms of distant mountains. The houses are modest, built of sun-baked stone and wood, their flat roofs edged with woven mats and clay pots. Narrow paths, formed by centuries of careful footsteps, wind between the homes and led toward open fields planted with barley and wheat. Here and there, grapevines cling to rough wooden frames, their leaves whispering in the faintest breeze. Olive trees, their trunks twisted with age, spread cool shadows beside small gardens, fragrant with figs and wild herbs. In the village square, a shared well stands at the center, its stones smooth from countless hands drawing water at sunrise and sunset. Chickens roost on low walls, and the soft clop of a donkey's hooves can sometimes be heard making its way back from a day of labor. The air is sweetened by the mixture of tilled earth and fresh bread, and life feels woven tightly into the land itself, every day shaped gently by the rhythm of seasons and the watchful gaze of the mountains beyond. On the edge of the village rises a gentle slope, a mountainside that looks down over fields and rooftops, catching breath after breath of cool, high air. Here, where wildflowers grow among stones and small birds flit between thorn bushes, the world feels open and peaceful. The ancient paths call quietly, lined with tufts of grass and shaded by the outstretched arms of acacia trees. Sometimes, shepherds lead their flocks here to rest, watching over them as the sun dips below rocky ridges. At dusk, the mountains glow with a soft light, their shapes gentle in the deepening blue of evening. Below, homes come alive with the warmth of lamps, each window a small lantern against the growing night. Within these homes, families share their bread by lamplight, voices low and gentle, cradled by the peace of home, a place where the heart finds shelter, and each day folds into the next with the soft assurance of belonging and love. The wind stirs softly as night deepens, weaving a gentle dance among the branches of ancient olive trees. Their slender leaves shimmer in the moonlight, lifting and settling with every whisper of the breeze. Along the narrow paths of the village, low garden walls are draped with linen cloths, freshly washed and left to dry in the cool air. The fabric flutters and sighs, moving in slow waves stroked by the patient fingers of the wind. Grape arbors rustle quietly, their tender shoots reaching and trembling, as if responding to a lullaby only they can hear. Farther out on the slopes, wild grass bends with each passing gust, blades brushing together in a soft, familiar song that soothes all who listen. The movement is never hurried or sharp. Always patient, gentle, a part of the night's invitation to rest. Within each peaceful home, the wind finds tiny gaps in stone or wood, bringing with it a breath of coolness that refreshes tired bodies and clears the quiet spaces between thoughts. Simple curtains sway against the window's frame, their edges casting shy shadows upon the walls. Small fires sputter and settle in clay hearths, their smoke drawn gently outside by the same breeze. The faint scent of wild thyme and lavender, carried from the gardens, drifts indoors, mingling with the warmth of baking bread and family togetherness. As the wind moves through rooms and courtyards, it seems to gather up the day's cares, carrying them quietly away like fallen petals on a stream. In its careful passing, through leaf, through fabric, through silent midnight hours, the village finds comfort, every sound and motion softened, wrapped in the gentle arms of the night's breeze. The earth is cool beneath soft, wandering feet, its warmth from the day now fading into a gentle chill that soothes tired souls. Along the pathways between homes, stones and dust remember the sun's touch. Yet in the hush of evening, coolness settles everywhere, underfoot, on courtyards swept clean, and around the base of sturdy olive trees whose twisted shadows stretch across the ground. The golden light, left by the setting sun, and now deepened by lamp and moon, makes each shape and every feature softer. Bread baskets, benches carved from wood, and clay jars for water take on a quiet glow as if holding tender memories of the day. The air is tinged with scents of earth, olive, and the distant traces of crushed mint, flavors that speak of work completed and the comfort of rest. Long shadows reach across rooftops and gardens, gentle and reassuring, inviting one and all to pause, breathe, and simply be. In this golden hush, the tempo of life relaxes. Children, sleepy-eyed and wrapped in woven shawls, sit close beside parents and grandparents, listening to lessons softly told. Elders watch the slow drift of shadows, their faces peaceful, lines smoothed by the promise of sleep and the kindness of twilight. As light flickers low and the last warmth fades from the stones, a sense of belonging fills each home, hearts quietly giving thanks for the simple gifts of the day. Oil lamps cast their mellow glow on baskets of figs and carefully folded linens. Flames reflect in the gentle eyes of those gathered, the golden shimmer highlighting kind expressions on every face. The fading light urges all tasks to a close, drawing families together in contented silence, sure that safety and peace will watch over them until dawn. In these endless moments, as shadows pool and cool air embraces each life, the village seems to hold its breath, savoring the peace that lingers in the golden hour before night fully arrives. Smoke rises gently from the rooftops, curling upward in soft, transparent ribbons that blend with the night. From simple chimneys and open lamps, the smoke carries faint scents of olive oil and wood, swirling in the golden glow before drifting away into the cooling air. It traces an unhurried path above each home, visible only for a moment before disappearing into the endless dark. The villagers glance up now and then, watching the peaceful dance of smoke as it spirals into the sky, a living thread connecting the warmth of their hearths to the stillness above. Inside, the lamps burn steady and low, their flames reflecting in calm, thoughtful eyes. The gentle light deepens the shadows on the walls, making every small movement, pouring a little water, tearing a piece of bread, feel sacred and slow. The curling smoke carries whispers of the day's meals and memories, blending their essence into the breeze that flows softly between homes. Lamps flicker beside doorways, guiding loved ones back from evening walks, their flames painting trembling lines of gold across the stone. For a few precious moments, the village becomes a tapestry of warmth and quiet light, stitched together with drifting smoke and the hush of satisfied hearts. As the lamps burn lower, the smoke takes on a softer, dreamlike quality, rising ever upward and carrying with it prayers both spoken and silent. It is a humble offering, a sign of peace and provision, rising from every household until the air itself feels blessed. When the smoke finally fades and the stars take over the sky, what remains is a sense of shelter and gratitude, a gentle assurance that, in this village, the night unfolds with tenderness and care. As the first hints of dawn glow softly on the horizon, the village begins to stir with gentle grace. There is no abrupt clamor, no hurried shuffle, only the slow, peaceful movement of people waking from restful dreams. Within each simple home, the dim golden light of the new day filters through latticed windows and woven doorways, spreading softly across stone floors and earthy walls. The air is still cool, flavored with the scents of earth and olive from the night before. A father rises quietly from his mat, stretching with a silent yawn, careful not to disturb those still dreaming beside him. The rhythm of his footsteps, measured and unhurried, marks the beginning of another day rooted in peace and calm. He crosses to the water jar, his hands finding the familiar shape before gently pouring the first cup to wash and renew. Each task, from folding woven blankets to lighting new lamps, is done with patience and reverence, honoring both the dawn and those who share this space. Elsewhere in the village, the pattern repeats in tranquil harmony. A mother hums a low tune as she soothes a drowsy child, their voices just above a whisper, blending with the gentle cooing of doves perched outside on the rooftop. Grandparents rise slowly, pausing in the quiet to give thanks for the gift of morning, their expressions soft with gratitude and remembrance. In each household, doors open onto gardens dew-kissed and glistening in the soft sunlight, inviting the day's first breath. Neighbors greet one another with nods and quiet words, voices floating lightly through the peaceful air. Never rushed, always gentle. Breakfasts are prepared with the same calm delight, barley bread shared between hands, the taste of new olive oil savored in the lingering hush. The village wakes with slow footsteps and soft voices, a daily resurrection of hope and kindness woven into the heart of each home, as the sun rises and the world welcomes another day. As morning unfolds, the village gathers around simple tables set low to the ground or finds comfort sitting in circles on woven mats, the air warmed by the aroma of freshly baked barley loaves and the sweet tang of ripened dates. Meals are a time of gathering, where hands reach and hearts connect, everyone taking their place without hurry or demand. Laughter settles easily here, light and sincere, the music of contentment shared between neighbors and kin. Children's eyes grow wide with delight as a grandmother breaks open a loaf, and cousins trade favorite pieces of fruit, their small voices drifting upward like birdsong. Yet even with the lively chatter, a deep reverence softens the morning, for each simple bowl of lentils, each jug of clear water, carries its own quiet blessing. Before eating, voices unite in a gentle prayer, sapling hands folded and elder palms resting quietly, gratitude woven with hope for another day's needs met. As the sun rises higher and the shadows shift, midday meals are shaded by the wide leaves of fig trees or enjoyed in the cool embrace of stone-walled rooms. Conversation ebbs and flows, sometimes spirited with laughter, sometimes restful with long, comfortable silences. Elders share stories between bites, their wisdom spreading through the meal like the warmth of fresh bread. Across the table, a father and son exchange smiles as they pass a wooden bowl of olives, and a mother quietly fills cups for her family, her movements steady and full of care. Moments of silence are never empty. They hum with a gratitude deeply known, a reverence for the meal that sparks gentle reflection and humble joy. Food is not just sustenance, but a celebration, a daily reminder of belonging and abundance in this sacred place. Every meal, no matter how simple, becomes an altar of togetherness and peace, nourishing not just bodies, but every spirit gathered beneath the soft, ancient sky. The morning meal brings gentle energy, and soon the village quietly settles into the daily rhythm of honest work. There is no rush, only the calm unfolding of tasks shaped by tradition and care. In the fields beyond the village wall, men and women move between furrows, their hands skilled in coaxing life from the earth. They scatter barley seeds or tend rows of pale green shoots, their motions steady, their bodies swaying in tune with the land's quiet music. Some kneel in gardens, gathering fragrant herbs or weeding beneath wide fig leaves, the air alive with birdsong and sunlit motes of dust. The simple tools of their labor, wooden hoes, clay jars, woven baskets, wait patiently beside them, familiar as old friends. Each task is completed with patience, ambition softened into humble diligence. The brightening day carries the scent of turned soil and growing things, filling hearts with hope and a quiet pride in work that blesses both earth and table. Within the village, others find their purpose as well, their hands moving with gentle efficiency in shaded workshops and humble homes. A potter shapes cool clay on a turning wheel, smoothing the rim of a new jar with careful fingers, while sunlight pours in along the wall, warming both craftsman and creation. A carpenter sits cross-legged on the floor, planing olive wood into smooth planks for a doorway or small bench. Mothers stir pots above glowing embers, while children sweep stone floors or fetch water from the well, learning the holy patience of daily chores. Voices are low, sometimes sharing quiet conversation, sometimes falling into peaceful silence, the hush broken only by the rhythmic swish of brooms or the gentle clicking of clay cups. Everywhere the work is honest and simple, completed not for wealth, but for the gentle survival and well-being of every soul. Through every movement echoes the wisdom of many generations, that work itself, done in kindness and care, is quietly sacred and woven into the fabric of life, as steady as dawn and as certain as night. In the cool shade of early morning, the gentle rhythm of kneading bread fills each quiet home. A mother dusts her hands with flour, her fingers sinking into the soft, warm dough as she presses and folds with practiced care. The clay bowl moves gently on the table, rocking with the steady pattern of her work. A push, a turn, a gentle gathering of the dough, each movement both simple and full of love. Laughter from a small child nearby blends with the sunny hum of a song passed down from many mothers before. The air carries the earthy scent of grain and the promise of fresh loaves soon to be shared. The dough rises slowly, covered with a clean cloth, while the embers in the hearth wait to transform it into something golden and nourishing. This daily act, humble and quiet, is a small miracle, turning handfuls of flour and water into the bread of life, enough to fill every hungry heart around the table. Just outside, in small courtyards, and along the paths that curve through the village, another gentle ritual unfolds with the feeding of animals. Goats and sheep gather near woven fences, their soft bleats a low chorus as they wait for handfuls of hay and sweet stalks of grain. Chickens flutter in the dusty patches of sunlight, searching for scraps or bits of seed. A child pours water into a stone trough for a tired donkey, gently stroking its rough mane as the animal dips its head to drink. Even the restless birds are greeted with kindness, a few stray crumbs tossed onto the garden wall. The quiet presence of these creatures is closely woven into the fabric of daily life, each one cared for with patience and gentle hands. There is no rush, only a shared rhythm, a passing of blessings from family to animal and back again. In these honest moments, both bread and care are given freely, sustaining the whole village through the simple, faithful acts of every new morning. The gentle rhythm of morning continues, as quiet footsteps wind through the village paths toward the well. The sound of water being pulled from the deep stone cistern echoes softly across the sunlit square. A young woman lowers a clay jar with practiced ease, her arms steady as she pulls up the cool, clear water that shimmers in the dawn. She pours the precious liquid carefully into her vessel, working alongside neighbors who greet one another with warm, peaceful smiles. Laughter glimmers as droplets splash onto her feet, refreshing her as much as the day's first drink. From the well, a procession of children and elders make their way back, jars balanced on heads or carried in careful hands, each step sure and unhurried. The water, vital and pure, is more than just a necessity. It is a cherished link in the daily dance of life, a symbol of plenty provided, and a quiet gift for each home. Nearby, gardens awaken beneath the promise of morning, and the soft work of gathering herbs begins. Slender hands brush through thyme, mint, and rosemary, collecting handfuls of fragrance to season meals or to mix into soothing teas. The gentle snapping of stems, the rustle of leaves, and the song of birds create a soundtrack for this tender labor. At the doorway, grandmothers sort and tie bunches of gathered herbs, laying them in woven baskets to dry for the coming days. Inside, the hum of patient work fills the rooms. Old, well-loved cloth is folded with care, smoothed by palms that remember many years of use. Garments, shawls, and linen wraps are stacked in neat piles, ready to comfort and warm each night. The morning's tasks are never hurried. Each movement feels ancient and steadfast, connecting every soul to a wider circle of family and tradition. In these rituals, drawing water, gathering green gifts from the earth, folding what is clean and soft, life reveals its sacred simplicity, and peace gently blossoms within every home. In every corner of the quiet village, children move with watchful eyes and eager hands, nestled warmly into the daily rhythms alongside their elders. Their voices are soft, their laughter light, carried gently on the morning breeze, as they follow parents and grandparents from task to task. By the well, a small boy stands close to his older brother, mirroring every movement as water is drawn and poured, learning the careful balance required to carry a full jar without spilling. In the gardens, a little girl kneels in the cool earth beside her mother, fingers nimble as she mimics the gentle gathering of mint, her expression bright with wonder at each sprig plucked and tucked into the basket. Children are not hurried or set aside. Instead, they are drawn into the circle of work, their curiosity welcomed, their questions answered with patience and a smile. Every helpful touch, passing a bowl, folding a cloth, gathering a handful of wildflowers, is met with gratitude and gentle encouragement. And through these acts, the world itself becomes a living lesson. As the sun rises higher, the learning continues, woven seamlessly into the tapestry of daily life. Under the shade of a fig tree, an elder teaches a group of little ones to weave rushes into sturdy baskets, guiding their small fingers with practiced care. Nearby, a father invites his son to help mend a wooden gate, showing him how to choose the strongest branches and fit each piece snugly into place. A mother braids her daughter's hair, telling stories of her own childhood as the girl listens with shining eyes, her hands busy smoothing linens alongside her mother's careful touch. These moments are gentle and sacred. Learning flows freely from one generation to the next, not as command but as invitation. The knowledge given is practical and patient. How to plant, how to shape, how to give thanks for every gift. In this way, children grow strong in both skill and spirit, shaped by the kindness of those who lead and the quiet wisdom of each shared day. The village itself becomes a classroom, and love is the lesson written on every heart. Across the quiet courtyards and shaded doorways, the elders of the village move with time's gentle wisdom, their presence woven into the very heart of daily life. Soft humming rises from aged lips, melodies handed down like treasured heirlooms, threading through the air as brooms glide over stone and earth. Each sweep is measured, and sure, the simple act holding the dignity of years lived close to the land. Edges of dust are gathered patiently, and every careful motion keeps the thresholds clean and welcoming. Sunlight shifts silently on worn sandals and the corners of long robes, the elders' hands as steady as their breath. Occasionally, a child will pause nearby, listening to the low song and letting the soft repetition of sound and movement calm their restless heart. In this way, the rhythm of care is learned before it is taught, absorbed almost without notice through the softness of example. Within the warmth of each home, pots rest above glowing embers, and the hum of an elder continues, turning to a tune that is both a comfort and a prayer. The stirring of a simple soup or a thick lentil stew becomes a meditation, a slow and nurturing motion from which the family will soon be fed. The seasoned hands that trace the rim of the clay pot move with practiced gentleness, a lifetime's memory guiding each swirl. Spices are added by instinct, harvested herbs crumbled between strong fingers, their aroma filling the room and promising abundance. Every now and then the hum softens as an elder pauses, savoring a taste or offering a quiet smile to a loved one passing by. The air is filled with the harmony of ordinary life, sweeping, stirring, singing, a chorus of peace and gratitude spun out with each daily chore. And so, the village breathes together, the wisdom of the elders anchoring the community in stillness, song, and attentive love. As the day opens further, a gentle chorus awakens the village. Birds hidden within the branches of fig trees and twisting olive groves begin to call out to one another, their melodies clear and sweet, echoing across sunlit courtyards and open fields. Swallows dart in graceful arcs above the rooftops, while doves coo softly near garden walls. Their songs mix with the soft whistle of the wind as it follows well-worn paths between houses and rustles through tall, swaying grasses beyond the edge of the village. Each gust feels playful and alive, nudging at linen curtains, sending ripples across puddles left from the night's cool breaths, and carrying the fragrance of blooming herbs and just-baked bread from home to home. Every window and doorway is open to this gentle parade of sound and fresh air, and all ears listen, even if only in passing, to the music of a world at peace. Beneath all this, the earth itself quietly soaks in the growing warmth of the morning sun. Dark, cool clods of soil soften as golden light stretches farther and farther across plowed rows and garden beds. The ground, once slick with dew and shaded by the heavy arms of trees, now exhales the promise of new life. Shoots push upward, greeted by warmth, and the scent of the earth becomes richer and sweeter with every hour. Bare feet press gently into the warming dirt, warm sand collects between toes, and hands reach down to gather what the land has offered. Everyone, young or old, moves lightly upon the soil, respecting its gifts and passing softly upon its face. With each ray of sunlight, the village feels more alive, each man, woman, and child attuned to the rhythm of creation. The bird call overhead, the wind at their backs, and the living ground beneath their feet. The whole village, and the land itself, seems to embrace the day's unfolding, each breath and step full of ongoing peace and quiet gratitude. Just beyond the low stone walls of the gardens, bees meander from flower to flower, their tiny wings humming gently in the late morning sun. The golden insects hover above the white blossoms of wild thyme and cluster along the pale petals of fig trees, collecting pollen and promise with careful devotion. Their steady, peaceful labor is a song all its own, weaving in and out of the gardens and whispering a quiet blessing into the work of the day. A child crouches nearby, watching in fascination as each bee dives into a flower and emerges dusted in gold, noticing how these little creatures move with purpose, yet never in a hurry. The air seems to shimmer and slow around them, filled with the scent of honey, distant bread, and green things growing. In this calm, everything feels possible and nothing is hurried. Life moves at the pace of the gentle creation just outside the garden gate. The leaves of olive and fig trees rustle softly as the wind carries its message through the branches, a secret rhythm passed down from one to another. Sunlight flickers through the green canopy, making shifting patterns on the path and painting the village in quiet, dappled light. All across the fields and walkways, time itself seems to slow, as if the earth and its people are content to linger in the middle hours of the day. Tools rest in the shade, water jars cool beside garden walls, and even the animals pause in their movements, basking in the easy warmth. Neighbors greet each other in unhurried voices, sometimes offering a soft laugh, sometimes simply enjoying the quiet together. Every sight, every sound, the bees, the rustling leaves, the measured footsteps in the dust, blends into a peaceful stillness. The world, it seems, is wrapped in patience and kindness, with every moment stretching out wide and gentle, inviting all to rest and delight in the slow unfolding of a simple, sacred day. Among the peaceful rhythms of the village, there is one whose presence brings quiet reassurance wherever she goes, a woman with gentle hands. Her steps are steady and light as she moves from garden to home, her fingers always tending, never rushed. Years of kindness have shaped her touch into something both strong and gentle, capable of mending a torn tunic just as easily as soothing a fretful child. The women who work beside her notice the way her palms smooth linen without creasing, the effortless care she takes in folding cloth or braiding string. Even the smallest creatures, an injured bird, a lost lamb, find comfort in her hold, as if she carries a promise of safety and patience in every soft motion. Her eyes, warm and attentive, shine with the wisdom of days spent serving others, and her quiet voice carries strength in its softness. Children love to seek her out, trusting in her gentle presence and the way her laughter sounds like a song softly remembered. If a child skins a knee among the stones or becomes tangled in branches while gathering figs, it is her hands that reach first, steady, experienced, and bright with compassion. She cleans small scratches with a touch as light as morning dew, dries tears with the corner of her simple, earth-colored shawl, and always finds a word of encouragement that feels like sunlight after rain. There is a rhythm to her care, an unspoken blessing in every act, whether she is kneading bread at dawn or combing the hair of the tiniest villager at dusk. The elders nod to her in passing, grateful for all the tender ways she joins the calm of the village with her peaceful strength. In a world where life can sometimes seem woven from worry or want, she reminds them daily that every gesture, if done gently and with love, can create a little more peace, a little more hope for all who are near. The woman with gentle hands begins her work with the smallest of tasks, never rushing or overlooking the quiet importance of what is set before her. Today, it is simply to mend a child's tunic by the light spilling across her mat. She lays the garment in her lap, the fabric soft and familiar, worn from days spent in play and discovery. Her fingers move with patient precision, threading a slender needle and guiding it through the edge of a small tear. Each stitch is even, gentle, and full of care, a line of tiny miracles, invisible to all but the loving heart. As she works, the sun warms her shoulders, and the steady hum of village life becomes her companion. The sound of her quiet voice, singing a song learned long ago, blends into the hush, making the simple act feel almost like a prayer. Others in the village notice these small acts of kindness, and at times pause to watch the rhythm of her hands. When she finishes mending, she pauses to smooth the cloth once more, inspecting her work with eyes that see beauty in preservation and patience. She folds the tunic neatly and places it where the child will easily find it. No fanfare needed, only the hope that warm, steady care lingers with each thread. Even as the task is small, a single tear, a moment of soothing, a word of encouragement, it carries a greater meaning for those around her. By tending to small things with tenderness, she quietly teaches those who watch that love is best shown not only through grand gestures, but through daily acts of gentleness. In the soft glow of the morning, as bees hum and the village begins anew, her task, humble and true, reminds all who witness that peace begins with a gentle word and a caring hand, unnoticed by many, but known deeply by the heart. Around her, life continues with the same gentle rhythm, a pace that is never hurried, but always mindful and calm. The woman's movements mirror the flow of the village itself, measured, peaceful, and guided by intention. She draws her needle in and out of the cloth with the quiet patience of someone who trusts in time's gentle unfolding. When she rises to gather water or step into the sunlight to tend a nearby herb bed, her steps are sure yet slow, feet cool against the earth. She breathes deeply with every new moment, feeling the softness of the air in her chest and the simple ease of being present, right here, in this sacred now. The fabric of life, she knows, is woven from repeated acts, taken at a comfortable pace, never pressing forward too quickly, but instead letting care fill each fold, each motion, like sunlight, filling an open doorway. Others in the village, watching her, are subtly affected by that serenity. Children slow their play as they notice her calm, and elders, sitting nearby, find their own breath settle into the peaceful cadence of the day. Her work is never rushed from completion to the next need. Instead, her presence invites others to savor each task, exploring the richness of daily routines with gentle hands and open heart. Even as pots bubble quietly in the kitchen or baskets are carried from table to storeroom, the steady rhythm remains, a mark of life lived well and in harmony with creation. Through her example, she quietly teaches that there is strength in patience and beauty in restraint, and that by honoring the small things and breathing softly through their work, all souls in the village can find enduring peace. The day itself breathes in time with her, drawing all who live here into a wider restfulness that lingers long after tasks are finished and the golden light of evening begins to fall. In this gentle village, faith is not always found in words or recited prayers, but in the simple acts that shape the day. It lives in the way hands lift water from the well, in the soft sweep of a broom at dawn, and in the patience offered to children learning beside their elders. The woman with gentle hands never preaches or draws attention to herself, yet her belief flows through everything she does. Every bowl of bread she kneads, every torn cloth she mends, every herb she gathers in the garden is a silent offering, her trust in the goodness of each moment quietly shaping the life around her. Her faith is woven into the rhythm of each breath, seen in her care for neighbors and the creatures of the yard, her humility, a silent witness to deep-rooted devotion. Others sense this quiet reverence and mirror her in their own practices. A father offers shelter to a tired animal not simply as routine, but as an act of gratitude for the gifts of creation. Children run to help gather figs, not because they are told, but because they see how love is shown through willingness and open hands. Even the elders, their voices soft with the wisdom of many seasons, show belief by listening closely, by holding silence between words, by sharing blessings with a gentle smile. Through these ordinary movements, a lamp kindled, a meal served, a path swept clear, faith becomes the gentle thread connecting all life in the village. It is a promise made with hands, not speech, a sacredness that fills the space between all who dwell here, so quiet that it does not need to be spoken, because it is already lived, shared, and understood with every careful, loving act. Softly, as her fingers thread the needle through fabric, the woman with gentle hands lets a quiet prayer slip from her lips. Her voice is no louder than the breeze sighing through the window, each word falling into the hush of the room like a drop of clear water. She does not speak her hopes with urgency, but with steady calm, thanking the Creator for the soft morning light, for the strength in her hands, for the well-being of the children who will wear the mended tunics she tends. These prayers are not reserved for special times. They arise naturally, a faithful melody carried by each simple movement. The rhythm of stitching links her breath with each word, weaving care into every fold, every seam, as if the garment itself is being stitched with blessing and protection. In this gentle way, the ordinary act of sewing becomes sacred, a moment where the boundary between heaven and earth seems to soften and blur. Much the same happens in the kitchen, where her hands stir a bubbling pot and the fragrant steam rises toward the small, open window. As she circles the spoon through lentils and herbs, her mind quietly offers another prayer, gratitude for nourishment, a plea for peace to dwell in every heart that will gather at the table. Her words are hushed, swirling in time with the meal, invisible but powerful. Each stir of the pot is slow, full of patience, a kind of silent worship wrapped in the act itself. Children catch the lull of her murmured prayer, absorbing faith blended with the scent of supper. Through all these moments, her prayers become the unseen thread running from task to task, a gentle, steady presence shaping the day with comfort and hope. The home is filled with this quiet blessing, not because of grand words, but because faith and thankfulness are poured with care into every humble movement, turning the smallest chores into acts of devotion. Trust weaves itself quietly into each repeated motion of the day, as steady hands mend, stir, and bless. The woman with gentle hands trusts in the grace of familiar rhythms, each stitch she pulls through worn linen, each circle her spoon makes in the bubbling pot, every careful sweep of her broom. These actions are gentle doctrines, confirming the belief that small, faithful tasks carry meaning beyond what the eye can see. In the folding of linen, in drawing water, in the simple act of sharing a piece of bread, she trusts that goodness grows daily, layer by layer. There is no rush for tomorrow, no fret for what may come. Her heart knows the promise that tending today with care will make room for new mercies in the morning. Each movement is a testament to enduring hope, a careful response to life's challenges, and a quiet faith that the world will unfold as it should, one gentle act at a time. Others around her begin to notice that peace is found not in grand accomplishments, but in the sacredness of simple repetition. Children, watching her, learn to trust the rhythm of kneaded dough and steady hands, realizing that patience bears fruit as surely as the fig tree blooms each season. Elders, sharing a silent moment on the doorstep, feel comfort in the steady return of familiar sounds, the brush of palm against cloth, the rolling of dough, the creak of the garden gate at dusk. This is what gives the village its heartbeat, an unbroken trust in the kindness of each repeated task. In sunlight and shadow, their lives are built from trust placed in the present moment, in the goodness between neighbors and in the quiet blessing of each new day. From this trust, peace settles softly over all, resting with them until stars again brighten the quiet sky. As the afternoon ripens into evening, shadows stretch long and slow across the dusty paths and golden fields. The stone walls and olive trees, once sharp with the light of midday, now wear gentle veils of gray, their outlines softened by a sun growing weary with the day. The warmth that once danced brightly on every rooftop and garden is now mild and deep, inviting all to pause and savor the gentle hush settling on the village. Children's laughter drifts lower, games trailing off as they watch their own shadows spill out before them, tall and wavering across the earth. Tools are gathered, baskets set aside, and weary feet carry their owners home down familiar paths. The hours move with an easy, unhurried calm, and in every corner there is a sense of anticipation, for the closing of the day, for rest, and for the welcome gathering around evening's simple meal. The pale sunlight filters through fig leaves and across the spines of barley, painting everything it touches with a gentle gold. The sun no longer burns but glows with kindness, caressing the village with its fading light. Windows open wider to catch the evening breeze, and doors remain ajar, letting in the crystal notes of birds seeking one last perch before night falls. Inside the homes, the pace slows even further. Bread is sliced, pots are filled, and a quiet gratitude rises up with the aroma of warm supper. The people of the village move softly in this golden hour, their hearts at ease. The memory of the day's steady goodness lingering in each thoughtful glance and gentle word. As the sun dips lower, painting the world with shades of rose and amber, a peaceful stillness fills the air, and every breath seems to lengthen, stretching with the shadows, resting with the earth under the softening sun. The people of the village return from their work as evening gently settles across the land. Footsteps, once scattered through fields and clustered in gardens, now come together in the familiar paths that wind homeward. Shoulders move with the slow, tired rhythm of honest labor well done, and faces glow with the warm sheen of the setting sun, softened by contentment. In the quiet, neighbors greet one another with small nods and gentle words, voices hushed but friendly. Barley stalks may still cling to the hems of robes, and hands bear traces of flour or earth, every bit a badge of the good, simple work of the day. There is no rush now, only the steady, peaceful movement of a people who know that the day's burdens are lighter because they have been shared. Every returned step is a relief, carried along by the anticipation of water, rest, and the comfort of home. Within each doorway, calm settles like a gentle cloud. Robes are hung behind doors, sandals kicked quietly aside, and hands are rinsed in cool water drawn from the earthen jar. Children gather at their parents' sides, eyes heavy but bright, comforted by the nearness of their families. The sense of baking bread and simmering lentils drift up from clay pots, mingling with the special sweetness of safety and belonging. Gratitude hangs in the air, a feeling that does not need words to be understood. Soft laughter and the steady murmur of voices flow through open windows as family and friends come together around low tables to share a simple meal. As day yields to night, peace deepens, settling over each home, over every heart, wrapping the village in a quiet contentment that lingers far after the final embers have cooled and stars begin their silent watch above. As the sun continues its gentle descent beyond the distant hills, the homes of the village begin to shine with a soft orange glow. Oil lamps are lit with careful hands, their flames rising slowly, flickering and dancing against the curved walls and the beams of every humble dwelling. The warm light spills out through open doors and small windows, settling tenderly across thresholds and spilling into the dusky air. Far from harsh or bright, the glow is a silent invitation, a gentle beacon calling each soul in from the quiet world outdoors. Shadows retreat into corners and along stone floors, replaced by pools of gentle radiance that gather around loved ones, making every moment in this twilight hour feel sheltered and sacred. Outside, the village itself takes on the look of a scattered cluster of tiny lanterns, shining in the deepening blue of evening, steady and sure. Within these glowing walls, life slows to its easiest pace. The orange light softens every face and reflects from bowls of lentil stew, baskets of torn bread, and cups of cool water drawn fresh from the well. Children curl up by their parents, lulled by the dreamy hush and the security the glow brings. Elders settle in with quiet smiles, hands folded or gently at rest, their hearts full from a day of honest living. Soft laughter and low voices weave through the rooms, carried on the warmth of shared meals and the comfort found beside familiar shadows. The light flickers but never falters, guarding each story and cradling every whispered blessing. Outside, the night gathers its coolness, but inside every home, the orange glow lingers, a promise of safety, togetherness, and peace, wrapping the whole village in a tapestry of joy at the close of another day. As the last bites of supper are savored and the hum of gentle conversation fades, the humble chores of evening begin. In the soft orange glow cast by oil lamps, bowls are gathered from the table and carried to a simple basin. Hands move slowly and quietly, swirling water, washing each earthen dish with care and a sense of gratitude. Children take part in the ritual, passing the rinsed bowls to mothers and fathers, every gesture patient, every drop of water reflecting the light of family and peace. The activity is gentle and unhurried, the sound of water mingling with murmured goodnights, the clink of clay bowls finding their place on shelves, ready for another day. Washing away the remnant of bread and stew, villagers let the calm of the evening soak into their open hands, each task a final token of care for home and kin. When the bowls are clean and the last crumbs swept from the stone floors, the time comes for closing the house to the deepening night. Doors are drawn gently on their hinges, the feeling more of tucking in than shutting out. Latches are clicked, curtains pulled across windows, and the sounds of the outer world soften to a hush. Children are tucked beneath woven blankets, their cheeks pressed into the gentle warmth of straw mats. Elders offer one final word of blessing, their voices low and comforting as they brush a few loose curls from a little forehead or pat a restful hand. Inside each home, the world contracts to what is most cherished: the embrace of family, the memory of another good day, the peaceful orange light resting on every face. Just beyond the doors, the evening air deepens into calm darkness, and the whole village sighs into rest, each home quietly sealed in a circle of gentle, nightly care. Night deepens, gathering gentle shadows around the homes, while inside, small fires are kindled and tended with loving care. Flames flicker in the hearth, casting a tapestry of golden and copper patterns against curved walls and earthen floors. The fire crackles softly, its friendly sounds weaving a lullaby that soothes away the worries of the day. Warmth drifts across the room, making the gathering close and safe as villagers draw nearer to its glow. Young and old alike find comfort in the dancing light, its steady, beating heart promising security through the quiet hours. Children, drowsy from a day filled with play and learning, huddle together, eyes half closed, tracing patterns in the shadows, and letting the peace of the flames wrap around them like a gentle cloak. As the fire settles to a steady burn, a quiet voice drifts into the hush. A psalm is whispered, each word carefully placed, each phrase rising and falling with slow reverence. The ancient words are murmured almost in rhythm with the soft crackle, floating up with the smoke toward the starlit sky. The melody is simple, barely more than a breath, yet it carries the weight of deep faith and gratitude. Those listening allow the prayer to settle into their hearts, the familiar verses blending with the warmth and glow. The psalm is not recited for show, but offered as a gentle act of belonging, a thread connecting each soul in the quiet room to the Creator and to all those gathered together. In this serene moment, with the fire glowing and the psalm lingering in the air, the burdens of the world grow lighter, replaced by gratitude, peace, and the hope that every night will end as gently as this one, bathed in quiet song and the warmth of shared light. The last moments of the day arrive quietly, gentle and serene, as candlelight flickers against the walls of each resting place. The flames, slender and golden, sway softly with the drafts of the room, casting dancing shadows that sway in gentle rhythm above peaceful faces. Children snuggle close beneath woven blankets, their eyes heavy with comfort and reassurance. The warmth from earlier fires lingers in the air, but it is the hesitant glow of candles that guides hearts from wakefulness to dreams. Elders lean back with contented sighs, eyelids falling slowly as their thoughts grow quiet. The candlelight, mild and measured, soothes these last waking moments, smoothing out the worries of the day and making a cradle of gentle, forgiving light. In every home, the steady flicker is a final blessing, a promise that the night will be watched over and that morning will come, gentle as the flame itself. Even as the world outside grows silent and the stars gain their brilliance, the candle's glow remains, marking the sacred boundary between day and night. Shadows blend softly with quiet breaths, hands that once worked and welcomed, now stilled for rest. The flame holds its small watch over each tired soul, never fierce, never hurried, only patient and kind. For those not yet fully asleep, its dance becomes the last story of the day, a lullaby of light that moves across walls and dreams alike. When the candles are at last pinched between practiced fingers and darkness folds carefully over the room, peace is complete. Each heart, each hope, each longing is safely entrusted to the sleep that now gently gathers all. And so, guided by candlelight and sheltered by love, the village slips softly into the embrace of night, resting in the deep assurance that in this place all is well, all is calm, all is held within a gentle ancient peace. As night deepens and the gentle glow of candlelight fades, the village is lulled into a deep, steady peace. With bodies settled and eyes growing heavy, the quiet is filled with something greater than sleep. There is a slow, soaring drift of thoughts turning softly toward heaven. Each soul, in its own quiet way, lets the heart wander beyond the walls of home, beyond the safe fields and sheltering trees, to places only faith can reach. It is a gentle, upward pull, where gratitude for the day's abundance blends with silent hopes for tomorrow. Elders, cradled in their blankets, remember the words of old psalms and let their spirits find comfort in promises bigger than any worry. Children, whose dreams are still warm and simple, unconsciously trust that they are watched over even as night thickens outside. The hush is golden, anchored to the deep earth, yet reaching skyward, slow and sure as a prayer rising with the dawn's first breath. In these moments, there is no rush for answers, no struggle for greatness, just the steady, faithful climb of thoughts and wishes toward the place where peace is found. The worries of the day, once pressing, now dim and float away, replaced by a quiet longing for kindness, for understanding, for the presence of love. It is as if the gentle hands that tended hearth and child now also tend the soul, smoothing away every edge, inviting it upward on invisible wings. The world becomes soft and wide, a safe space where every heart can hope and every spirit can rest. Each room in the village, bathed in the lingering calm of day's end, offers sanctuary for these drifting prayers. As families breathe together in sleep, their hopes mingle like smoke, winding slowly to heaven, certain they will be heard. The night holds them all, a silent shelter, cradling every peaceful mind, until morning's first light calls them gently back to the joys and blessings of another day. In the last hush before sleep fully claims the village, insight drifts in as softly as dew settling on the garden just beyond the door. It is nothing sharp or sudden, but rather gentle and real, wrapping itself around tired souls like the cool silk of early morning moisture. There are no proclamations, no voices raised, just a silent clarity that seeps in with the darkness and renews the weary spirit. Perhaps it's a small wisdom learned from a day's honest labor, or the tender sense of belonging shared around the table, or a quiet gratitude for the safety found within these familiar walls. The elders resting near the hearth, the children curled together beneath woven blankets, all feel this blessing, a fresh understanding that life's greatest gifts are the simplest ones. Like dew gathering unnoticed, truth seeps in while the mind is still and the heart is open. This insight is shared by all, even if it is not spoken aloud. It is the tangible peace that lingers after kindness has been given and received, the trust that tomorrow will offer its own gentle mercies, and the knowledge that life's meaning is woven from days much like this one. The dew of realization rests lightly, never heavy, bringing comfort and clarity without disturbing the peace of night. As villagers drift into dreams, their thoughts slip over this truth, watering their spirits so they awake rested and ready to embrace the dawning day. Morning's first light will reveal tiny pearls of dew on every leaf and stem, a quiet sign that the world is new again, and that gentle, true understanding settles on each home that moves through life with patience, gratitude, and love. In this way, insight arrives, quiet as dew, softly refreshing every heart, silent but ever true. As the night stretches on, every room in the village is brushed by a presence that feels close yet never overwhelming, a sense of the divine that is always near, yet never speaks above a whisper. It moves through the hush of the sleeping home, its touch lighter than the breeze at the window, and softer than the breath of a child at rest. The sacred comes not as a trumpet or a blaze of light, but as stillness itself, gently wrapping itself around those who lie quietly beneath woven blankets, filling the empty spaces with peace. It can be felt in the steady pulse of a mother's heart as she drifts toward sleep, in the calm closeness between grandparents whose hands find each other in the dark, in the safety and comfort each child senses as they settle even deeper into their pillows. Without words or spectacle, this nearness brings a peace that settles every thought and soothes every longing. No one in the village looks for grand signs or shattering voices, for all know the blessing of quiet companionship that comes as the fire fades and stars fill the sky. The divine walks these earthen floors softly, travels the stone paths with unhurried steps, and lingers in corners where shadows have gathered, with every gentle sound, the low whistle of the wind, the faint creak of a door, the whisper of linen drawn up against the night, there is reassurance that all is held in loving care. The village sleeps with a trust so complete that even their dreams are quiet, shaped by the silent promise that the divine watches always, close as breath and gentle as dew. Night after night, this unseen presence brings comfort, faith, and the surety that the greatest mystery needs no grand entrance, only the quiet courage to listen and to rest in the deep and sacred calm. As the quiet of night deepens within the sheltered homes, a single verse drifts gently across the thoughts of those who have settled into rest. It is not shouted or even spoken aloud, but rises slowly in the heart, its words familiar yet newly comforting. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. The verse floats softly through the darkness, wrapping around each resting soul like a tender promise. It is a light in the gentle shadows, a guide for minds that still wander as sleep draws near. Whether remembered from the lips of a grandparent or whispered quietly at bedtime, these simple words bring assurance, reminding every heart that care and guidance reach into every corner of the night. Under the hush of the stars, the verse settles into dreams, carrying the spirit gently along streams of peace. Within this sacred pause, the verse becomes more than memory. It is the soothing current guiding thoughts safely home. Even those whose burdens remain quiet and heavy find that the words help ground them, easing tension as gentle as a hand laid softly on the brow. There is no need for more, no lengthy teaching or debate, just the steady rhythm of trust flowing through the verse's ancient cadence. Outside, the world is held in dark embrace. Inside, the guidance of the verse stirs quiet hope. It steers each soul away from worry and toward comfort, from longing and into rest. As the night presses on, this gentle guidance remains, guarding every sleeping heart, so that by morning every spirit will rise restored, ready to greet a new day with gratitude and the echo of soft guiding words still close and kind. In the depth of night, when the world is especially quiet and slow, there is a gentle understanding that nothing needs to be solved, only held. No one in the peaceful village worries over unfinished tasks or fleeting concerns. Instead, each thought, each memory, each hope is carefully gathered in the heart, welcomed like a quiet guest beside the fire's last gentle glow. The rhythm of daily life, its joys and its burdens, rests softly together, needing no answers for now, only acceptance. Every soul, young and old, lets go of the urge to fix or change, allowing the worries of the day to soften and settle in the warmth of community and care. This is the hour for holding, not striving, for letting the world simply be as it is and finding peace in that gentle permission. Within each home, as breathing slows and quiet deepens, blankets are tucked against cool skin, and hands rest loosely on woven mats. Even the lingering questions and unspoken prayers seem content for now to rest where they are, needing no resolution. The village breathes together in the hush, hearts opening to the idea that comfort can be found by simply being held, in love, in faith, in the safe embrace of night. The weight of the world, when shared quietly in this way, is no longer heavy. It becomes a soft presence, a reminder that tomorrow's light will unfold on its own. Children drift farther into dreams, elders settle in with bittersweet memories and gentle smiles, and even the animals outside, curled in straw or hay, sense this soothing calm. For tonight, every heart is simply held, known, and cherished, and that is more than enough. As the night journeys on, the sky softly shifts from hazy twilight to the richest shade of indigo. High above the silent rooftops, the first stars appear, tiny glimmering points pierced gently into the spreading darkness. One by one they rise, clear and faithful, scattered across the vast velvet sky like small seeds of hope. The village quiets to reverent stillness, every home now steeped in restful peace, while outside, the world is held under this growing tapestry. The moon lingers low above distant hills, catching the last hints of golden glow before surrendering to the deeper blue. Children, half asleep on their mats, sometimes stir to catch a glimpse of this evening wonder, their eyes reflecting a starlit awe that lingers even as they slip back into dreams. Elders, awake for a little longer, recall old stories of creation and blessing spoken beneath these same stars, their memories mingling with the gentle hush. With each moment, the indigo grows deeper, richer, wrapping the earth and sky in a serene embrace. The breeze carries the faint scent of night flowers and cool stone through the open windows, drifting around those who rest. From outside, the gentle sounds of animals settling and distant leaves sighing in the darkness fade into quiet, letting starlight become the night's softest song. The village, protected by the ancient hills and the deepening sky, seems cradled in a quiet too deep for words. In this peaceful hour, every living thing is drawn close by the comfort of gentle darkness, by the mystery of a sky alight with promise. The stars, so familiar, so silent, stand as gentle guardians, reminders that the turning of night is as certain and wondrous as the dawn to come. With hearts at ease, the village breathes in the soft, indigo peace, released by the assurance that no matter how wide the sky or silent the hours, all is woven together beneath the watching stars. As the night settles fully, the sound of footsteps gently drifts away along the worn paths and packed earth courtyards. The last wanderers return home, sandals brushing softly on the stone, their movements slow and peaceful under the shimmering blanket of stars. Wooden doors close with the lightest creak, and the village becomes quiet, holding only the memory of voices, laughter, and the day's steady rhythm. Windows darken, save for the faintest orange glow spilling from one or two lamps left burning by those who linger a bit longer in their waking thoughts. The peaceful hush deepens until the only echoes left are the faint sounds of the night, an owl's call from the outskirts, the hush of breeze weaving through reeds, the tired sigh of animals in their stalls. All is still, all is at rest, as if the village itself takes a long and gentle breath. In this final silence, it is as if the entire village exhales, giving thanks for the gifts of one complete day. The burdens carried and the joys celebrated are released into the night, taken up by the soft darkness and the watchful stars. Each home, each soul, finds its own tender space for renewal, blanketed by the ancient calm that settles where daily striving ends. The fields, the gardens, the very stones of the village rest in harmony, joined in a peace both broad and deep. There is no need for words or music. The slow, steady breath of sleeping lives is enough to carry everyone through until morning's first color. Hearts beat in time with the gentle rhythm, each sigh given over to the promise of restoration. The village, complete in its peace, nestles under the indigo sky, a single contented breath, exhaled into the sacred quiet of the night. In the tender quiet of deep night, peace settles over the village with a touch that is both gentle and complete. It is not simply the absence of noise or worry. It is the presence of something real and alive, a silent companion woven into every stone floor and every heartbeat beneath woven blankets. Peace lives in the steady breath of children sleeping on straw mats, in the comforting arms of mothers and fathers wrapped round each other for warmth. It lingers around the small orange glow of lanterns left burning for a loved one still awake, and rests softly on the rooms where elders recall blessings whispered over bread. This peace makes itself known not by what is missing, but by what remains. Love, safety, acceptance, and a deep, abiding joy in each slow, quiet moment of togetherness. There is a living fullness to the hush, a weightless presence that asks for nothing more than the ease of being, fully held and understood. Within each home, this peace becomes a gentle promise, shaping the night's slow hours into shelter. Beneath the indigo sky, the village isn't emptied by darkness. It is filled by a deeper presence that gathers every worry and wraps it in reassurance. Every troubled thought and lingering question finds a soft resting place, soothed by the warmth of shared hearts and the reassurance of gentle hands. In the peaceful rooms, love keeps watch as steadfastly as the stars themselves. Even dreams carry the imprint of this presence, so that each soul awakens restored, untouched by fear or haste. As night breathes on, the spirit of peace is not a space left behind, but a gift given, quietly lighting every heart from within. Here, in the deep presence of stillness, the village finds its true rest, a comfort more real and enduring than the world's constant change, a warmth that remains as long as love is near. In the soft flickering light just before sleep, moments of togetherness bloom quietly between those who share a home. A hand rests gently on a shoulder. Steady, warm, and filled with comfort. No words are exchanged, but the touch itself speaks deeply, offering reassurance that lingers long past the moment. It is both guidance and gratitude wrapped into a single, simple gesture. At the end of the day, when spirits are tired and eyes grow heavy, this touch is enough to ease worries and invite rest. It promises, without a sound, that no one is alone, that every joy and every burden is carried together. Around low tables and beside soft beds, these gentle touches move like invisible threads, weaving a cloak of safety and belonging over the night. Elsewhere in the quiet house, a silent nod is given, an acknowledgement shared between elder and child, parent and friend. The nod is slow, steady, and full of understanding, building a bridge between open hearts in the hush. Sometimes it is a thank you at the close of a meal, or a good night exchanged in the shadowed doorway. Sometimes it is a blessing, a simple affirmation that all is well and that love persists even after the day ends. In this village, gestures weigh more than a flood of words. They are the language of the soul, binding family and neighbor in a silent kindness that calms both giver and receiver. As hands settle and nods are given, the rooms fill with a gentle warmth, a message as enduring as any spoken prayer, that in this world, peace is found and kept in every shared, silent act of care. As the final embers cool and the air grows still, the village settles fully into a gentle embrace of rest. Every home, every room, every heart welcomes sleep not with resistance, but with gratitude, a needed friend at the end of a long day. Pillows are softened by careful hands, blankets drawn close, and breaths fall into slow, peaceful rhythms that echo through the quiet. The worries of today have been set aside. The laughter, the labor, the small acts of kindness, all tucked in with those who hold them. In the deep hush, there is no urgency, only the comfort of surrender, the quiet hope that nothing more is expected tonight. Rest is not just a pause between what has been and what will be. It is a sacred time of return and renewal, a gift that gathers all souls safely into its gentle fold. Outside, the night keeps its faithful watch, stars steady in the indigo sky, moonlight dusting rooftops, and silent pathways. The world waits without hurry, holding the promise that another day will dawn. Tomorrow will come, carrying with it new joys and fresh burdens, meals to be made, hands to be joined again in work and worship. No one in the village tries to rush what is meant to arrive in its own time. Instead, they nestle deeper into the warmth of love and the shelter of home, trusting that the sun will rise and life will unfold as it should. Until then, sleep is deep and undisturbed, dreams are a place of quiet blessing, and the night is a promise kept. In this holy stillness, the village rests, restored by peace, protected by hope, and quietly certain that tomorrow's light will be welcomed, just as this gentle sleep is embraced. All across the peaceful village, a blanket of stillness settles, wrapping every home and soul in calm assurance. The steady glow of lamps has faded, replaced now by the soft hush of night, and the distant glimmer of stars high above. Nothing stirs except for the gentle rhythm of breathing, the occasional creak of settling walls, and the soft murmur of dreams weaving quietly through the hearts of the sleeping. Outside, the fields and hills rest untouched, their evening song given over to silence, save for the faintest whisper of leaves in the midnight breeze. In every room, children and elders alike are cradled in warmth and belonging, the stories and hopes of the day folded into their dreams. There are no alarms, no unsettled spirits, only the deep, trusting ease of knowing that all is well. This is the hour when time itself seems to pause, letting every burden slip away and every joy linger just a little longer. The world outside holds its breath, and inside the gentle shelter of each home, peace reigns. No tasks remain to be done, no words need to be spoken. Hearts speak to hearts in silence, and the spirit of the village breathes as one. Far above, the stars keep faithful watch, sentinels in the great indigo sky, while the moon glides quietly, tender as a prayer. Sleep hovers over the village like soft wings, and all is still. Tomorrow will come, fresh and full of possibility, But for now, there is only a deep, holy quiet, the kind that reassures both body and soul. In this moment, everything is held, everything is enough, and the gentle hush promises that in this village, at this hour, all is well and all is still. Night holds the village in perfect quiet, a tender hush resting over every roof and winding path. Stars gleam gently above while the moon stands watch, silver and still, pouring cool light over fields, courtyards, and the peaceful faces of those who sleep within. The burdens of the day have been laid down, and even the animals rest in calm, comforted by the steady rhythm of breath and belonging. Nothing stirs but the faintest sigh of wind at the window, and the soothing memories of kindness woven through each hour. In this gentle pause, when time itself feels kind and slow, a blessing moves through every home, a promise that is ancient and true, steady even as dreams drift silently through the night. So now, let the last worries fall away, and let the mystery of rest enfold every soul. Lay each hope, each fear, gently aside, knowing that the world is not left alone or unseen. Sleep, for he watches still, while the village slumbers, an eye more loving than all others guards the night, holding each heart in safety and peace. Tomorrow's needs are not for tonight, only the promise that no one rests unnoticed, and no dream is too small to matter. The stars remain as proof of this gentle care, constant, unwavering, and bright. Sleep comes as a blessing now, a holy shelter that wraps every soul, young and old. Trust in the one who neither slumbers nor forgets, whose watchfulness makes all possible, and whose love never leaves even in the deepest quiet. Sleep, for he watches still.